So, according to a lot of people, Caitlin Clark got a fan kicked out of the game today. She didn't. The fan just got spoken to by security. He was right back in his seat, courtside seat, and as well as the quote unquote rumor of what was said. Take the rumor with a grain of salt. Like, anyone can say anything on Twitter, but yeah. So early enough, I think it was during the first quarter. This ended up happening. So yeah, in the first quarter, at the score of 14-13, DeWanna Bonner's in the free throw line. Caitlin Clark says something to the refs, and the one thing I will say is the refs obviously heard something. The refs obviously heard something because Caitlin just points at a general direction. Caitlin points in a general direction. I will make this full screen actually just so that you guys can see it a bit better. That is my backup camera for some reason. There we go. So I will do it right here. And let's take a look. So, they're pointing. The referees are pointing and it's yes. So obviously, security goes. I think she gets into it with DeWanna Bonner. And I think the reason, obviously, security goes and gets him. And it is what it is. He got talked to. But this is the situation where I'm like, it must have been bad. Because look at Alyssa Smith's reaction here. Where is it? Here. Look at that reaction. Like, Alyssa Smith listening. So it must have been pretty bad. I do mean that. Like, it must have been pretty bad. There's no way it wasn't bad, what the fan said. The rumor is the fan started calling her a word that begins with C and ends with T. And also saying the same thing about her mother. And that's where it's like, especially when you're courtside, the players can hear it. Yeah, it is. It probably is crossing the line. And like, if anyone's saying, oh, Caitlin Clark she's just not used to being heckled. Have you not seen the Caitlin Clark in high school? When she was in high school, she was one of the players that had to deal with an entire high school gym. And I'm sorry, when you're in a small gym that is completely filled with 17, 18-year-olds, it's going to be tough. Screaming overrated at her and just giving her just normal high school heckling. She's been in 2 national championship games, full crowds. She has been heckled as much as anybody, even this season by teams. Especially when you go to somewhere like Vegas, where a lot of the fans aren't Fever fans. When you go to Chicago, you're being heckled. Even though you're being praised, you're being cheered, you're also being heckled. So I will say it, that no question about that. She can deal with that. Obviously, what your man said crossed the line. Because there's no way that Caitlin Clark would wait until today. And also, if you're saying, oh, things weren't going well, Caitlin Clark had scored or assisted on 13 of her team's 14 points. She was playing unbelievably well up to that point in that game. And yeah, a lot of people are saying oh, she's soft. We don't know what he said. Look, if it turns out that he said, he wasn't kicked out of the game, people are like, oh, the person lost their seats. And that's the one thing when it comes to sports is people think when you're courtside, you can say whatever you want. You can't. You can't. And especially when it comes to, I'll say it, especially when it comes to basketball, where the players are closer to you, you can hear one person, and as bad as it is, as a soccer fan, there's less of a culture of just giving abuse to a player. I can't even remember who it was. There have been so many players that, like, in football have had 100 times worse things, the worst things that have ever been said to them that you could say, chanted at them by 10,000 people, and they'll go to the corner flag and just start laughing. They'll just start laughing at it because, again, it's just a bunch of men in their 40s chanting it, and it's like, it has less meaning. But especially when it comes from someone courtside, when it's hecklers, especially when there's not like the culture of insulting other teammates and going so far past the lines of dot, it obviously is worse. And I wouldn't want this on realistically on any player. I think if the Fever are in a like series, and if it was a Fever fan that said something to a player and a player felt uncomfortable with it, I'm cool with fans asking players, or players asking fans to leave. Not even asking fans to leave, just like saying it to the referees. Because he didn't leave. He literally just got told stop. And I'm pretty sure that's the case with the vast majority of fans. I think even the guy LeBron told to leave, I'm pretty sure he just, well, it's LeBron James. There was a bunch of times Kyrie has asked for fans to leave, and they just end up getting talked to a lot of times by security. Like, it's very rare somebody ends up completely leaving, being kicked out. Like, you have to really cross a line to be kicked out. So I'd say he just was on a final warning. And then, obviously, when you go into the crowd, some people should have been warned. Like the Dijonais heckler probably should have been just told, take off the shirt, take off the fake nails, and it's like, or the prop nails. It's like, just take them off at this stage. Like, I do think security needs to be a little, depending on what it is, especially if you kind of don't want to have that culture, especially in the stadiums. You can have whatever culture you want. Obviously, if it's fair game, it's fair game. But if it's not fair game all around, like, and you want to make the players feel comfortable, I'm cool with that. I'm completely cool with the league really cracking down on that, especially in the arenas, because, like, look, the players, you can't dodge it on social media, but the league and the teams can control is what happens in the arena. So I'm fine with, for lack of a better word, like, making the arenas more like player friendly, and whether that like take away sometimes from the atmosphere of the games. I also don't think heckling fans necessarily that cross a line that does anything to an atmosphere of a game. But yeah, that's pretty much it. Apparently, that is why the person, got spoken to, no one kicked out in the end. Thank you guys for watching. Please like, comment, and subscribe.